With apologies for the slight delay, welcome to Lightning Talks. We now have 4 speakers lined up, and the first one will be Didier with Tag to Upload.
Thank you. As you see, I've used the best presentation tool ever, Kate, with big letters. I hope that it's readable. I can include it. I'm going to talk about Tag to Upload. As you might know, the idea here is that you start with so the question is, how can we release software from a Git repository that has Debian packaging in it? The global idea is that you start with a signed Git tag. You push that to a service. It's a box. It does stuff. The result of that box is that it gives you assigned source changes, and you can upload that to FTP master. There was code that was done, I think, by Ian Jackson and others from the dgit region of the project. And as things stand now, I think this is not an idea that FTP master feel very comfortable about. So for now, it's not going to happen. So the question is, how can we make this happen without using a third-party service and without compromising PGP secret keys? Because one thing you could imagine doing is ask everyone to generate a subkey, push that subkey private material to some place and use that to sign packages. That's not going to happen. So, oops. So yeah, the proposal, we had a discussion back in 2019 at Mini DebConf Q. The idea here is that you create a specially massaged Git tag, and then you use Salsa CI, so we have pipelines running that allow you to do various stuff on your package, aka build it, build a source, build the binaries, do some tests, run an out-of-package test, run all sorts of tests, linting, etc., etc. But then you use this tag to recreate the signed source package and the signed changes file. And if the signature validates, then you can just upload it. The advantage here is that instead of uploading it from your computer, you can defer the upload after all the tests have run. So you sign the tag, you push, and then you go do something else while computers work and make sure everything you've done is clean. And then at the end of all of that, you can upload. So demo time, I think I have more or less. So the idea is that you take a random package. That's one I orphaned, and I already tested earlier today that it uploads to experimental. So FTP masters, please don't remove my key now. So the idea is that, let's assume you want to do something that we do very often. You just bump the standards version without changes needed, because, of course, I've read the policy. And then you generate the changelog. Ignore branch, team, that's perfect. Yes, it's me, great. Then because of the work in progress, we need to do a bit of cleanup, so touch all the files, chmod all the files. That's because the build source locally will have slight differences that might make my signature invalid if it's retried on Salsa. Anyways, and then you can DebCommit release, so that creates a commit and a tag. So if we can do tag show Debian 0.2.0-6 plus x1, 1. Great, there's a tag, it's not signed anyways. So yeah, this code currently doesn't require the tag to be signed, but you'll see why. Then we build the package, the source package, of course. So I assume everything works and the binaries are fine, etc., etc. The copyright is fine, etc. I use 2 options here, unsigned changes and git ignore branch, because I haven't done my work on gbp.conf. Of course, that's demo. So anyway, I build the source, generates the binary. That also works if you don't have the pristine tar, the original tarball locally, so it will use pristine tar to create this, and it should be binary byte by byte identical. I haven't signed the changes file for a good reason. The changes file include build info files. Build info files will have basically everything that depends on dpackage dev, so it's quite long, and it's bound to be different on Salsa CI. So what I'll do is that I just remove the build info lines from the source changes. And then if I have done things correctly, I'll sign it with my key. That should fail. Oh, it didn't. So I typed it correctly, great. So now I have 2 signed files. So it first signs the DSC, changes the changes file, and then signs the changes file. So I could upload that to Debian. But the idea is that to let GitLab CI do that. So I have some Python stuff that does, it extracts the signatures from the changes file and puts that in a Git note. So Git notes is a way to attach content to a Git tag or a Git commit or whatever. Basically, it's a text file that you can add without changing the original object. So I used that because it was easier to try and retry without having to recreate the tag each time. Git nodes have all sorts of problems, but anyways. Yes, I'll be faster then. So now we have nodes, so I can Git nodes, I think it's ref salsa, CID tags, show Debian 0.2.0.6 plus x1. So basically what it does, it creates a YAML file with the changes hash, because not everyone signs with the same hash, and the signature, so the signature for the changes file, and the same for the DSC file. And then you push this. So you push, of course, the commit you made, you push the tag, and you push also these ref nodes, so you push the nodes to Salsa CI. Because I only have 1 minute, I will show you what that gives on GitLab itself. So as I just did that a minute ago, if you go check on the pipelines, can you read from the back more or less? I can make that a bit bigger. If the internet is with me. So what happens in that tag, for example, that's the tag that actually did an upload to Debian an hour ago. What it does is that it will extract the source, and from there it will build the source package, extract the nodes from Git, the nodes I just pushed, and then it will sign the package from the node. So we'll use the 2 signatures that I've pushed and create a signed DST and assign changes. And once you have that, you can actually just deput the package to FTP master, which is done here. And, well, the package was accepted to experimental and will build. So conclusions, because I probably ate more than the minute I had. The current caveat of that is Git nodes is quirky. So I want to change that to put that data directly in the Git tag. A problem I discovered late is that the Salsa CI runners, they cannot basically do anything else than HTTP and HTTPS, so I cannot FTP to upload Debian.org. I fixed that temporarily using a custom runner, so you can just add a runner, Salsa CI runner in your project, and it will do that. That also means that you cannot rsync from keyring Debian.org, because you cannot use the rsync protocol. So what it does currently is that it uses the GitLab API to download the key, so the GPG key of the user who created the tag. And as you've seen, the local source directory needs a bit of massaging. So all that massaging should happen locally in the script, and we shouldn't have to type all of that. Yes. Of course, that only works for reproducible source builds. And I don't really understand why we want to create build info files for source, but removing them doesn't hinder the capability to upload. So the takeaway is it's not exactly tag to upload, but it's almost there. So you basically push git stuff, and then it uploads. It's of course more work than git tag -s, but it allows you to upload automatically after successful tests. And from the FTP master's point of view, there's no change, because if I had uploaded without pushing, it would be my key and my signature on the stuff that is uploaded by machine later. Resources help, patches welcome, of course. You can find the machinery on /audix/dtag on Salsa, and if you want to look how it looks for a package, you can go check the libopen aptx package with the pipelines there, and of course comments welcome. And I want to announce that on Debian Devil, but if you can help me make the code a little cleaner, and I'm welcome at every suggestions. Sorry for exploding my time box, and have a very nice day.
Thank you much for your talk. While the next speaker is setting up, we can take one question. Okay, so go ahead. So there is a question over here.
Is it safe to trust Salsa CI for uploading packages like that?
It is by design because there is no binary difference between the file that is uploaded by Salsa CI with the one I have created on my computer. So it's just deferring, basically it's deferring the upload to a later point by a machine.
Willst du das oder das andere? Sorry for the delay.
Is it fine?
Soll ich dich anzeigen?
Yep. Yeah, please go ahead.
Next speaker is Christoph Biedl, and it's the status of Escheroot.
Yeah, thank you. Allow me to spare a few seconds of my precious time to clarify one thing. So, the name of the game. In short, I don't really care. My personal preference is S-change-root. I've learned people say Schroot, say S-Schroot, or even lekker Schroot. Fine, whatever it is. So what's S-change-root? It's a wrapper around the change-root syscall and application that does, in a way, file system separation. So you declare a certain point in the file system, and that will be for the root, for the process or for the session started, appear as the root, and everything outside becomes invisible. S-change-root provides some convenience for this, for example, setting it up, so you can copy files into it or have bind mounts to access particular points outside. You have session management, so you can start a session, reboot your system, and then the session is still there. You can have snapshotting, so you can, if you want to do things, and at the end of a session, everything is discarded, and you are just at the point where you started, with a huge bunch of backends to implement that. Usage is mostly building packages where you want a clean change root and remove everything inside afterwards. Or for me, often testing how other distributions with a different user land look like from the inside. Besides that, it's fairly lightweight, so it integrates well into existing systems. And the Debian build daemons still use it. So I get a lot of emails lately, all by the same person, all with the same content, which boils down to why you spent your time on this, because it's old and we have 3 excellent alternatives being called Docker, Docker, and Docker. But this one still has a lot of usage. I mean, popcorn count of 2,000 is not nothing. Despite, so let's have a look at the situation 1 year ago. S-change-root was conceived and maintained for a long time by Roger Lay. He stepped down as a Debian developer and maintainer a few years ago, 2015. Raphael Herzog took over and made it abundantly clear that he's not too happy about this and orphaned it 3 years later. Since then, there have been occasional QA uploads, and we all know this is not good for a package. Things were not too bad, but they were certainly not good. And someone in February 2021 announced to take over, but this didn't happen. I'm not just going to disclose the person, but I'd like to say the person is right in the room. But, well, be discreet anyway. So status as of now, for 10 months, nothing happened. Then Jakob Haufe, who is a Debian developer, he's not with us today, unfortunately, he contacted me and asked me whether he could act as a wingman. We figured that could work, so we picked the low-hanging fruits, made a first upload end of May, and we received, with one exception, very warm response for that. Thanks for this, because it encourages us and it confirms we're doing good things. Upstream made end of life his project. We expected this, so we figured we would take over upstream work as well. To make a clear distinction, we rebranded it as S-Change Root Reboot, or in short, Rest Change Root. And I wanted to make the first upload right today. My co-maintainer found the issue, so it's slightly postponed by a few hours. Work in progress. In Debian, we have to work through all the stuff, for all the open bugs, and bring issues to upstream where applicable. Now that is much closer. Upstream, I'm going to hash a bit through this. Upstream means a lot of work because there's an old but very powerful development branch, and we'll have to find what's in there that's worth to pick. And still we decided we will, around October, do a freeze, so everything is in good shape for Bookworm. So summary, S-Change Root is back from the orphanage. You might say back from the dead, not much big difference. And the remaining 4 points are asking you. First, S-Change Root, if you have something you think you can improve it, please let us know. If you already did via the bug tracker and we think it's easy to implement, or it's just a patch to merge, let us know, then we just haven't seen it. As always, please test it. We don't have auto packages test yet, so we need a lot of input. And finally, last point, we already managed to mess up things. I'm sorry it will happen again. Please bear with us, let us know, and we'll fix it as soon as possible. So that's the status of S-Change Root. Thank you, and enjoy DebConf.
Many thanks. The next speaker is Martin Behrens, talking about off-grid solar power. Are there any questions about S-Root? Oh, during setup?
There's a package called Arch install scripts, and it includes Arch chroot. I was just wondering if there's major differences between Arch chroot and S-chroot.
I have to admit I don't even know what that is, so get to me afterwards and we'll sort things out. Thank you.
Any other questions? Are you all happy?
I just cannot see my own screen.
Oh, that's difficult. Yep, you're getting there. Yep, coming in. A little bit further, maybe?
I want to click on full screen now, and I can't see that here, so it's not duplicating the screen.
I think it's... There you go.
There you go, okay.
Starting.
Sideways.
Yep.
Thanks. I'll need to look sideways just to see which slide is on. Okay, yes, the reason why I started with solar power was, first of all, curiosity. I like hardware and electronics and so on. So I got a few solar panels and started to play. And then a couple of years ago, I had a nasty time with my finances, and the energy company decided to put me on the bad books. And so they actually increased my costs. And so then I got stuck with, well, now I have solar panels, but I don't have mains electricity. So hope you see there why. And that led me to expand what I have with solar power. I figured that I was paying a certain amount monthly, which most people do in their homes, and I went off-grid, and then the budget was basically the same money that I was spending, but I thought I'll spend it on electronics. I'll spend it on panels and all the electronics that goes with it, and then see how that works. Couple of facts there, if I recall, about the solar power, is that, there's a solar constant for the Earth's orbit around the sun, which is about 1,400 watts per square meter. It's a lot of power. So all these satellites around, they have these solar panels like the space station, etc., and they have kilowatts of power, many kilowatts. So that's okay. So at home, you can have these panels, and they generally produce a few hundred watts of power. And so a couple of those, that's enough then to keep it all working. The energy gets diluted. The atmosphere eats up a percentage, and then also clouds, that's one thing. And also the other is if you're far north or far south, then you're not going to get overhead sun. You're going to get just oblique sun, so less energy. Where are we now? Getting started, yeah. This is the list of components that you need. And so they're all available through many suppliers. I've sourced much of this from China, so using AliExpress and eBay, etc. That's where the most competitive prices were in my experience. So each of these components then has its own breakdown. So I think the first one there, the panels. So some data points about that. And you'll find that, the prices are coming down. Of course, now there's huge interest in solar energy, and therefore mass production is ramping up, and many countries are now getting their own factories for producing this. So my cost in the UK of a solar panel of 1.5 square meters is less than £100, or you could say it's probably less than even €100. I'm not shy of using used things. Of course, brand new, you may pay more. So that's the panel. Then the next thing, charge controllers. Thanks. The electricity that comes from the panel fluctuates according to the sunlight, and so it's not very regular. So the controller will then stabilize that. It will turn it to a standard voltage, and then you can do things with that voltage. So that's a necessary component. I think I had a photo of one somewhere. Then after that, batteries. You need this if you want your energy at night, of course. When there's no sun, then you need to store. And it turns out that this is the most expensive component. So you'll be, if you consider one of these for yourself, you will be spending the most money on that. There are quite a few options for technology as are listed there. And many of them have drawbacks. And the one that comes out on top nowadays is this lithium ferrous phosphate, or iron phosphate, but iron as in I-R-O-N, because ion, of course, is what you say with your mobile phone battery as well, but that's the one that catches fire, if you remember the Galaxy Note. Yeah, I'll have to fast forward. And so, other components you need. This is the best battery sort, and Tesla as a company is now planning to use this in their cars in future as well, so I think it's a good choice. So that's that part. Next part. Voltage converters, when you work with direct current, it's much more efficient. And so not having mains is actually good in one way, because you actually are more energy efficient, but you have to have the right voltage. And so this is where with mains it's easy. There are transformers, they're cheap, etc. Converters like this are trickier, but you can find them, and they're not too expensive. The actual batteries, I think, this is the mains inverter. So there will be some parts of your setup that cannot work with direct current, so you'll probably want mains as well, and so this would be the inverter that produces that. Unfortunately, this has quite high losses, and it's used for high power, but it means that it gets hot and you blow lots of energy out as hot air, so that's not good. And that was all the components. I can't see what this slide is about. Sorry. What does it say, the title? Sorry. Goals. Sorry, the goals. This is for me in the future still. So I'm running laptops and the sort of light electronic devices, okay. But what I'm hoping to do is then also get to complete water heating for sanitary water in other words, hot water taps, etc. in the house. Currently, I'm using a stove to just heat water that way. So it's a bit like camping inside your own house. That's not that convenient. And then, beyond that, charging a car would be really nice. So we are looking at the future of electric cars. They have their own batteries, and so it's mainly about getting the current into them. That should work well, but the cars are expensive, we know that. And then problems. I've just listed a couple of problems. So I think it's in summary there, but we don't have much time now, so I think you can just read that. But that leads us to the conclusion, which is it is doable. And so if any of you are interested in the subject, please touch me, and then I'll let you know more, give you information. I've chatted with a few people. They've found it interesting. So I'd say give it a try, but be willing to make a few sacrifices and compromises. If so, though, there are rewards. And I think as more time goes by, we'll get increasing efficiency, better value for money, and better results. So this is just early days, and I'm happy to be a pioneer in this. Thank you.
So while Adam is setting up this laptop, we can take a question or two.
Meanwhile, the next speaker is
Are there any
Drini.
questions?
Talking about CXL.
Yeah, thanks for your talk. What about legal side of your construction? You are from UK and you're ordering some stuff from AliExpress, which can probably not be certified in UK. Did you think about it? Thank you.
To be honest, I've not thought much about that side, the legal aspects at all. So, I think that on a larger scale, there would certainly be questions of public liability if you are hosting or providing an environment for other people. I think that if you use the mains part, so through the inverter, then you can supply the mains part through the mains of your house, and so that would be covered by your normal circuitry and circuit breakers and such safety equipment. But the direct current side, I think legally there's a voltage limit, and I'm not sure what it is, but it could be something like 48 volts or 50 volts or something which you could consider to be low voltage. And below that, we all use these things anyway without worrying about legals, etc. I can say, for example, I'm touching these batteries the whole time. I don't get short circuits or shocks from that because the higher the voltage, the better, but my maximum voltage that I'm using is 48. But I know that certain electric vehicles, small ones, they use 72 volts or 96 volts, and that gets awfully close to mains type of voltage. So this could be a problem. So, yeah, for me, unexplored territory, I'm afraid.
Any other questions? We'll just wait a moment. Any more questions? We apologize for the slight delay. We have one more speaker. We have one more scheduled speaker, which is Adam Borowski talking about CXL, I believe. After that, we do have some space for spontaneous contributions. If you would like to spontaneously give a lightning talk, please come to the front and let me know. Getting there. Shan't be a moment. Oh, there we are. Okay, there you are.
We had some problems with the slides, so just to be safe, let's use just this one. So the problem with memory is that servers never have enough memory, and you have only so many DDR slots, and it's hard to add more. but it's very, very easy to add more PCI lines in comparison. And as every PCI generation has double as much bandwidth per lane, that you can sacrifice some of speed and put some memory to on the PCI link. It didn't really work well before because it would need to somehow make the memory cacheable, make those cache coherent somehow. But now there's CXL solves this problem. And also before ways to add more memory were used proprietary extension, but CXL is something that's shared between Intel, ARM, IBM, and so on. The idea is to put it over PCI links, and this way you can either put that memory inside the box. So instead of those part 24 terabytes of RAM, that's the most that can be currently done with DDR. You can easily have as much as you have PCI lines for it might be a bit slower, but if you put some memory on another bus, then in general the oral systems throughput is better. But this doesn't really work, that part, unless you have some software support. That is, besides just onlining that memory, which in Debian is currently packaged inside of the NDCTL package, but it's something you really do only one per machine, and it's not so hard to just read the man page, but the hard part is somehow not making that slower memory that is out that requires a trip to the PCI, slowing down your programs that will not be as fast as possible. Yeah, that's memory tying. That is something that detects which parts of program that we program allocated are hot and need to be put on the fast DDR, and the rest which can be slower. That's also in Debian. And another use is that you can put some of the memory outside the machine, either on some server rack or even farther. But if you have it in this same rack, you can share some memory between machines. Of course, any single DIMM is used by only as a single machine, but you can switch them. So if one server needs more memory, then you can offline it and tell another server that you can use that bit that it needs. And there are far more possibilities, but in general, you have those that slow and fast memory, and once you have, in fact, two structures to do that, you can also, for example, have some very fast, very small memory inside the package of the CPU itself. That's faster than even the DDR DIMMs. Or some fake memory using even slower disk and all visible to the processor as byte addressable memory.
I think we're at time now. Okay. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you very much for attending. There is... Are you doing it? Okay. We have a previously scheduled, now spontaneous, last-minute contribution. Yep. So, should I refer? Thank you. Now I have 2 microphones, as if I needed any encouragement. Actually, meanwhile, does anybody have any questions about this? You'll have to wave harder because I can't see. Nope. Right, next speaker is Ephraim Flaschner talking about geeks.
I see the letters are just in a different order, but they're all where I expect them to be. Yeah, let's see if I can type in the super secret password that I just set for this. Okay. Yep. So everybody knows Geeks. Let's try that again. Everyone knows Debian is the universal operating system. So we all know the best way to install all software is curl software, and you pipe it right into sudo bash. So we're not going to do that today. We're going to sudo apt install geeks. Yes, another reason they say doing it live is never a good idea. Okay, so Geeks is a transactional package manager. So when you install programs, everything gets installed fresh. We use the magic of symlinking to go and actually connect everything together. And every package that's installed is actually linked with its, we use art paths and everything has its own special chain going back to the beginning bootstrap binaries where everything is built from. I don't know if you've seen the slide from GNU Mess. It's how do you make yogurt? You take yogurt and add milk. So the idea being, how do you build the compiler? You use another compiler and another compiler and another compiler all the way down to the beginning. So Geeks takes a core set of bootstrap binaries and from there builds up to everything in the world. Let's see, okay. So we have our Geeks package. Normally, first thing you would do would be to run Geeks pull to get a newer set, but we're just going to jump right in. So, easiest package always is hello itself. So, here everything is built from source, but we have. Let's see if I can. Oops. There we go. So here, Geeks itself refers to glibc and GCC that it was built with. And if I type in hello, I don't get anything. But if I use... So Geeks shell was introduced after this. Did I misspell environment? Well, it would help if I spelled it correctly. Environment. But we can create environments. Oh, there's an extra dash there, or missing a space there. But we can create environments that have packages that we're using in them. So I don't have hello installed, even though I've built it. And so now it's downloading the pieces that it needs to actually go and create the environment, and then it'll have the environment with hello in it. So I'm going to actually stop it and have it speed up a little bit. We'll go without grafts. So taking out a little bit of the security to make it go a little faster, which is really only useful for building the pieces. Okay, so we're running low on time, so we'll just go for... There it is, it says hello world. If we wanted to, I'm not going to have time for this. You know what? So I wanted to show how you can easily change, make small changes to packages. Then instead of saying hello world, it would say hello Debian. I'm happy to show anybody else who wants to see that, but it seems that downloading takes a little bit longer than expected. I'm good.
We are unfortunately now at time, so thanks all for your patience and indulgence. And we hope you join us tomorrow at 2, directly after lunch, for the special edition Travelogue Lightning Talks. And now enjoy your conference dinner.